So, Alex, this week has obviously seen the start of the Tory Leadership Contest and obviously a new Prime Minister contest as well. What have we seen so far and what more could we expect to see over the next couple of weeks?
Well, predictably enough, Beth, of course, all of the would-be candidates for the leadership of the Conservative Party are trumping their Brexit credentials. Let's face it, this leadership election is all about Brexit. Theresa May was decapitated as party leader because she could not deliver Brexit by the 31st of March the 29th, 2019, and therefore paid the price by her increasingly anxious MPs who look at the surge of Nigel Farage's Brexit party in the European elections and the practical annihilation of the Tory party in those particular, in that particular round of elections.
So we have 10 in the race at the moment, and obviously at this moment in time, who do you think we can expect to see making it kind of heading towards the finish line?
Well, the clear favourite with the party membership, of course, is Boris Johnson, who has stated that come what may, the UK will leave the EU on October the 31st with or without a deal. Now, those noises play rather well to the party membership, whose average age is somewhere around the age of 60, and of which statistics suggest are about 150,000 of them. Interestingly enough, if a piece in the conversation is to be believed, about half of those have joined since 2016, so that does tell you something in terms of the agitation to get Brexit delivered on the Conservative side of politics. Bojo is the clear favourite, certainly by a runaway margin, but I wouldn't necessarily assume it was a fait accompli he was going to be leader, although current trends suggest that probably will be the case.
So we're just a couple of days in, there's already been a huge amount of controversy surrounding certain MPs, no need to mention any names. Even a strange run-in with Lorraine Kelly, which I don't think any of us saw coming. So do you think that these controversies will have any impact whatsoever on their success?
No, I don't. I think it all comes down to who has the strongest pitch on Brexit and who is seen as most likely to deliver for the party faithful. Now, of course, therein is the problem, doesn't it? In my view, it makes no difference who becomes Prime Minister. For all the chest thumping and tub thumping about going back to the table and trying to reopen the negotiations on the withdrawal agreement with the EU leaders have made it perfectly clear that they're not going to budge in that regard. The withdrawal agreement in their eyes is done and dusted, and they are moving on from Brexit.
Now, the BBC will be broadcasting its first Tory leadership debate next week. So why is there such an interest in this leadership debate? Is it really all about Brexit?
Well, yes, I think it is. I mean, to come back to my earlier point, Theresa May got shot of because she couldn't deliver Brexit, and the party membership are overwhelmingly pro-Brexit in their sentiments. So there is all the interest in the drama. Now, it would be more interesting to try and get a grip on what all of these prospective leadership candidates would have to say about the rest of the economy, about the state of the NHS or about the police force. I noticed Sajid Javid, the Home Secretary, has made a pitch for wanting an extra £1 billion for the police force in the event of a no-deal Brexit. Does he really think there'll be blood on the streets if there's disorder? No, I would say it's more of a land grab to try and get money. But these real issues, which still will continue to plague us in terms of inequality in this country, in terms of the state of public services, in terms of the state of our industry policy and the productivity of key sectors such as manufacturing, which of course certainly would be quite dramatically affected by a no-deal Brexit. It'd be more interesting to hear what they have to say in terms of these. And now I think the Peterborough by-election offers an interesting snapshot in that regard. Labor won that by-election, I think, essentially because if you leave aside the fact that the Conservative vote was effectively split between the Farages and the Tories, Labor were a good campaigning machine and they campaigned on the basis of local issues. For example, fly tipping, which appears to be a big problem in Peterborough. That just goes to show that people have other concerns than just Brexit, and more Brexit. And in the unlikely event we got a general election, those issues, as they did in 2017, would come to the fore. But, people love drama, don't they? As a presenter on the Australian Broadcasting Corporation Breakfast TV News said to me, they love the drama. We'll see. But, let me just reiterate the point about it does not matter, in effect, who will become Prime Minister. This is purely a showing to the domestic gallery. It won't change the path of negotiations with the EU. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Whoever ends up becoming Prime Minister, even Bojo for that matter, their first phone call come October the 31st if we end up at 2 seconds to midnight. will not be to Washington with Trump, it'll be to Brussels. And the most likely outcome regardless will be that the UK will go back cap in hand asking for a further extension to Article 50 because the disruption that a no-deal Brexit would cause to key sectors such as the automotive industry would be too big a price to pay.
So what makes the candidates in the running think that they can do a job that Theresa May couldn't?
That's a good question. If you ask me, none of them are better qualified than Theresa May was for the job. When Cameron resigned and threw his toys out of the pram in 2016, she appeared to be the only adult in the room. Now the adult has left.
So we've been running a poll on Twitter asking people who they would like to see as the new Prime Minister. The overall winners are obviously Boris Johnson, Andrea Leadsom and Rory Stewart. Do you think it's too early to say who will win, or do you think the bookies have got it right with Boris?
Again, I mean, look at the nature of the contest. I mean, the key event here, of course, for any would-be leadership aspirant is to get through the vote of their parliamentary colleagues first. It's a two-stage process. First, Tory Party MPs get to decide who the short runners are, and then in the fashion of the last contest, the final two, I think, will then face off to the membership. So if you're a Boris Johnson or a Dominic Raab as a key Brexiteer, you need to garner enough support from your parliamentary colleagues first in order to ensure that you get over the magic number needed to finish in the top two. At that point, the party membership will then decide, and I think, to reiterate, they will still come down on the side of a Brexiteer. So whilst Rory Stewart might have a good commanding amongst his colleagues, and I think he's delivered a good message so far in that sense, when it comes down to the membership, I think the only thing that's going to play, of course, is get on and deliver Brexit.